Hamilton? Gone. Leclerc? Gone. Verstappen is set to win his 4th World Championship this year. Say psych, because Lando is still in the picture. After 2021 and 2 years of consistent max supremacy, where every race was like a clear front lane cruise on 300-kilometer long tarmac for the Red Bull pros, Formula One season 2024 is becoming one of the top most exciting seasons this season. Whenever and if Verstappen gets the win, he's having to put a big amount of effort into it. Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, and even Aston Martin have been keeping Red Bull on their toes, and all of that is very exciting stuff. But there's this 24-year-old driver from Bristol who's challenging Max and making him mad. Does Lando have what it takes to beat Verstappen to his 4th World Championship? Well, you need 4 things to be a champion: a fast car, a talented driver, a supportive teammate, and a smart strategist. Let's go one by one. A fast car. As soon as the drivers stepped off the podium steps after the Spanish Grand Prix, interviewers swarmed around them. One of them asked Lando to sum up his race, and this is what the Briton said. The race, not good enough, simply because we should have won today. I just didn't do a good enough job off the line, and then that one thing cost me. Maybe that didn't clear it enough for you. The day before, on Saturday in Q3, Lando Norris crossed the finish line and put the most dominant qualifying driver in second. Or maybe I should mention how in the final laps of the Grand Prix, Lando was gaining on Verstappen with almost a second closer every damn lap. And about those Red Bulls, they don't have the same advantage anymore. We'll see it in Barcelona, was the response Red Bull gave whenever their cars looked slow this season. But come Barcelona, the promised Red Bull track of glory, they just barely managed to win. So apart from the clear signs that the Red Bull dominance is coming to an end, another thing is obvious too. Whatever the Papaya camp did to their cars before the Chinese Grand Prix in April, it is now paying back dividends. The gap to Red Bull is nil, and Lando, in his own words, is driving the best car on the grid right now. Talented driver. If being a Formula One driver alone doesn't make you talented enough, then going neck and neck with probably the most aggressive and complete driver of this Formula One generation probably should. In his days with Sainz and now with Piastri, Lando's performance has always put him in the first driver's position. McLaren boss Zak Brown believes Lando Norris's raw talent is unrivaled on the Formula One grid and believes he can top Max Verstappen in a straight fight. See, Lando and Max are already battling like Hamilton did. After Verstappen got pushed a little off track onto the grass before turn 1 at Catalonia last Sunday, Verstappen skipped no second by saying, "I think I know his birthday present already. It's either like a big mirror or some glasses." But a big thing that people often miss is that what matters the most on track is the skill that comes with being the innate talent. This skill is something which can be sharpened too by working on your mistakes. I think this is the biggest strength of Lando Norris. He's very hard on himself, and even borders on being cruel when it comes to critiquing himself, with statements like, "It's just a shame I'm doing it when the car is as quick as it is." And when asked about himself making a mistake that let his teammate take a position, he said, "Nothing, just lack of talent." It's this same mentality that's found in many of the greats, like Senna and Lauda, which brings us to supportive teammate. Who in the world can deny the role of Valtteri Bottas for Hamilton, or the pairing of Kimi Raikkonen and Alonso? And for Lando, that missing piece of the puzzle is Oscar Piastri, another super talented driver for his age and experience, always challenging Lando to put out his best form while at the same time, because of Lando's seniority and their off-track bromance, being very accommodating for team orders to let Lando through. And if truth be told, they both make a strong driver pairing, which looks especially stronger because the opposition looks so terrible. While Verstappen is struggling to come close to last year's results, Sergio Perez is setting a new lowest benchmark every race he goes to, in the same car as Verstappen, who is constantly on the front row. There was much speculation about a replacement for Sergio, with Sainz and probably Yuki in the picture too, but ever since Red Bull decided to extend Checo's contract, the Mexican driver has made a special effort to pay the team back with stupid, terrible performances. He did a mega job in the 2021 title decider for Max and had comfortably given up on any desire to compete with Max ever since. But now the situation is looking bleak for Red Bull. They need a strong driver to pull the team up. Quality strategist. Now, so far, McLaren has everything going their way, from straight line speeds to the men in the cars. But Red Bull is battle hardened for simply staying on top for so long. Every pit stop, every undercut, weather call, driver orders, calling bluffs, everything Red Bull strategists do is near close to perfection. And then there's this formidable close bond between Verstappen and his race engineer Gianpiero Lambese. Their radio calls feel serious, but their relationship is far from superficial. Gianpiero regards Max as his younger brother, and they discuss each and everything with such ease that it makes Ferrari sweat their kits off. In a recent podcast, Gianpiero even talked about leaving Red Bull too if Verstappen decides to jump teams, about which the Dutchman vowed to see his career through with the Milton Keynes team, even if Toto is doing everything he possibly can to persuade his love Verstappen to join Mercedes next season. However, if you've ever chimed into Lando's radio at any crunch moment of a happening race, you'll almost always find Lando frustrated and unable to get the same level of communication with his earpiece as Verstappen can. So Lando may have the fastest and most confident car, but it's these tiny mistakes that McLaren need to avoid and consistently to be able to take the win away from Max. Because if you don't, if you make the slightest mistake, Verstappen is not going to let it go. And that's a testament to his skill at driving, and even Toto Wolff agrees it is Max who wins the races, not Red Bull. So ladies and gentlemen, with 14 races and 4 sprints, the points are up for grabs, and if Lando and co can sort out their tiny imperfections, you might be looking at a close title finish, if not Lando's sweetest dream to become the champion. Ideally, bear with me, ideally, if Lando wins every race of the remaining races and Verstappen is always second, then Lando takes the lead of the championship. But realistically, if Verstappen wins even 3 out of the races left, with Lando finishing second in those 3 races and winning all the remaining ones, the gap is still wide enough to let Verstappen take his 4th world title. But, of course, a lot can change with a few DNFs, then there's the sprints and fastest lap points too. So there's still some hope for McLaren fans, but maybe try not raising them too up the ladder, because the Red Bulls have been very reliable so far. I mean, who wouldn't want the fan favourite Lando to turn the tables? Verstappen's Orange Army versus Papaya McLaren's. Whoa. But I guess, let's leave it for time to decide.